Tan Books presents The Synodal Pope, the true story of the theology and politics of Pope Francis, by Jean-Pierre Moreau, translated by Jean Smits, narrated by Kevin O'Brien. Foreword. By the publishers of the original French version. It is often said that Pope Francis is as pragmatic as he is unpredictable because he lacks structured thought and has no true intellectual mentor, let alone a concern for liturgy. How else are we to explain his openness to the so-called Amazonian rite and his rejection to the traditional Latin rite? How are we to understand his contradictory statements, for example, on the subject of the Abu Dhabi document on human fraternity, in which he speaks of the diversity of religions as willed by God in his wisdom, while he privately asserts that this is merely God's permissive will, the same that permits evil? More questions arise. Why does Francis seem obsessed by the issues of our material world, climate, pollution, health, poverty, migration, and so on, while relegating the proclamation of the faith to the back seat? Why is this Pope prepared to take the risk of changing the doctrine of the Church by placing so-called pastoral concerns at the forefront of his speeches and actions? This book argues that there is in fact a unifying factor, a red thread, to follow in Francis's thought. Jean-Pierre Moreau, a keen observer of liberation theology, many of whose leading figures he personally met when he was a special correspondent for the Figaro-Magazine in the 1980s, has made a close study of the personal and intellectual itinerary of Jorge Mario Bergoglio, described by his closest supporters as professing the theology of the people. Drawing on his encyclopedic knowledge of the ideological shifts that have affected so many areas of Catholicism in Latin America, the author provides insights from his own encounters and readings. The theology of the people, he shows, is a spin-off of oft-condemned liberation theology. Stripped of the most obviously Marxist-Leninist aspects of the latter, it places the people of God, and above all the poor as a people, replacing the communists' oppressed class, but now with a messianic dimension.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?